Today we're going to find out if these Alien Pro wraps are the easiest way to regrip golf clubs at home. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. You like to golf and your grips may be in better condition than this, but I didn't know if you knew this. You're supposed to regrip pretty often, more often than I have been. And if you're using some rubber, velvet cord grips, they may last a lot longer than your other grips, but a lot of us use EVA foam grips and they just tend not to be as durable as other grips. Now, I have been changing my grips on my own for about the past year, and it's not that hard, but you do need some equipment and a little muscle as well as a place to work. But I saw an ad for this. It's by Alien Pros, and they're basically wraps that you wrap around your existing grip and kind of just cinch it down with this little piece of tape right here on the side here that you can see, and it's supposed to be like giving your grips a fresh grip without having to take the old one off. You're really just kind of building up on top of it. Now, one of the things that I'm curious about is if they will work on this really tatty grip. I mean, this grip is original to this club, and this club is probably about 25 years old. You probably don't even know it. It's a Wilson Staff Ultra Iron way back in the 90s. So I'm going to try to see if I can put it on here because this is dry and cracking and flaking off. I assure you there is no grip that is in worse condition with this. So this will be an ultimate test for it. And on top of that, I want to see what it feels like when we hit it, as well as if we are actually increasing the diameter of the grip, kind of making it maybe a mid-sized grip as opposed to a standard grip. So I just want to see if any of that is perceptible to me, give it some swing, see how this holds up. The one thing I will tell you right now is that when you are wrapping this, there is a little bit of human variability to this. And actually, if you do a lot of over wraps, it's going to make it a little thicker, and if you really space out those wraps, it's going to make it a little thinner. So I'm kind of curious how much material you get in here. I think it's going to kind of force you to do it in a certain way because it doesn't look like it's that long. Now in this little package here, I got 3 grips. You can get them in like 9 or 13 for all your clubs. So let's try one out and swing around with it and see what we think. As I mentioned, this grip is in just terrible condition, so I'm just going to put that right there for now. This is the Alien Pros grip. You can get them in some different designs. I got this one. It's Galaxy's first. I don't know, you got to have a certain taste, I think, to want them in maybe this style here. But so you'll really get 2 pieces to the grip as far as I can tell. I've never tried this in real life, so this will be a learning experience for me. You get the grip material, like I said, kind of a really long strap here, and what you can see is, it's not that thick. I would kind of call it 2 thicknesses of masking tape is kind of what it feels like a little to me. It also feels kind of delicate. You can see the back here, what that looks like. It's actually a really light material, and what it also looks like is that we have maybe this top corner cover. It looks like it kind of comes with a cellophane cover, so underneath there you can see it's more of a matte finish, kind of grippy. That definitely feels like grip material. So maybe not as textured, it's a little smooth, but it is pretty grippy. So you're going to pull this off before you apply it. And then on the bottom here, looks like we have another little piece of tape. So if I pull this, I think, okay, what we get here is a little dot of adhesive. So that feels a lot like packaging tape to me. So that's how you're going to kind of start this sucker. And as you can see, it starts with this straight edge, so that's going to give you a wrap all the way around the top, and then it's going to kind of put you on this angle down, which is not going to be a very aggressive angle, right? So I'll show that to you in a minute here. And I will also say that if we go all the way down to the bottom, we also have another little dot of tape to hold it in place, and you are going to want to, as far as I can tell, take off this top backing piece before you wrap it, otherwise you'll never get it off, okay? And then when we're done, we have this little piece of tape here, this Alien Pros, and we're going to wrap that around the bottom to anchor it, right? The top will be anchored because it's wrapped around itself, but then you'll have this little loop there, or this little loose piece here, so we're going to wrap it all the way around the bottom. All right, so let's see if this sucker works. I'm going to go ahead and pull this off here. So the first thing I'm going to do here is go ahead, and I don't think I will go all the way up to the top there. I'm going to just be a little low, kind of put it right here so that the butt cap of the grip will look stock. And then I'm going to just kind of wrap it around here. I'm not really pulling it tight. Okay, so after I get it there, I'm actually going to just pull it just a little bit. This kind of reminds me of like a plumber's tape in some way. So I think it kind of holds itself in place. Now I'm going to, if I pull it down like this, you can see I'm getting a little bit of a fold there. So I'm just going to kind of pull it in a way that it looks like it's flat all the way around. And I'm just going to kind of hope and assume that the cut here is well thought out, that it will overlap and be in the right space. You can see here I've got maybe a 1/4 inch of overlap, so that kind of might be my guide. And that seems to be a pretty good guide. Seems like I'm getting a little more overlap. Again, if I go down here, pull it down a little too aggressively, I'm getting a little bit of like an air pocket on the grip. So I'm just going to let the grip tape here tell me what to do. I am a little worried, to be really honest, that I am not very far down the shaft, and I kind of have to pull here pretty tightly, that I'm going to run out of material. So maybe I need to give myself a little bit more gap there. So now I think they advertise that, oh, you can regrip your grips in just a couple of minutes. And yes, if you get decently proficient at this, I think you could go faster. It would also probably help to have your golf club in some sort of spinning vise or something, or maybe even between your legs, but I'm doing it like this horizontally, which is probably the dumbest way to do it. Even there, you can see I'm kind of paying attention to where I am wrapping it, and my grip wraps are a little uneven. A real thin one right there, not really overlapped right there, getting a little thicker down here. So the thicker ones are making me feel better, but I can tell you right now, I did a bad job. All right, because despite how I have a 1/2 inch overlap, I have run out of material for the most part. I want to see how close I can get here. Okay, so I ran out of material. All right, I failed. So I'm going to try it one more time and really not overlap the fraps that much and see if we can get down to the bottom. Okay, second time was better. I'm down to the bottom here. I actually had too much material left, and so I'm going to use that little dot right there to cover that up. And now I am going to take the little kind of piece of tape that they include here. It's only about 7 inches long. I'm going to see if I can open this up. Okay. And my hope is that this is some sort of vinyl so that this will not wear off. But I am just going to go ahead and put it, I'm going to start it at the end of the wrap here, just so that I can go over it, hold down that piece. But it looks like you just put it at the bottom here. I'll probably use a little bit of stretchy. Ooh, it does stretch a little bit here to kind of give it a nice secure wrap at the bottom. Ooh, don't stretch it too much. Pulled it a little thin there. All right, I will tell you, I think if you do this numerous times, you will get better and better at it. But it's kind of funny because right up here, I was going for about a 1/4 inch overlap, and then it got down to, I don't know, maybe about 1/8 of an inch on some of these, right? But then I ended up having too much down here. Obviously, the length of your grip will matter, but I think it's a little bit of an art here to kind of figure out exactly how much overlap you should have. And I would say that maybe just a smidge more than a 1/4 of an inch overlap to kind of end with just the right amount of material. Now, I will say it's very grippy here. You obviously get a little bit of an overlap or a little bit of a ridge where it overlaps, so there it doesn't feel bad in the hand, and that's because the material is really squishy. It does feel a little bit weird. It's a little different than kind of a tacky mac or a wrapped grip, like kind of the old style wrap grip, but it feels pretty good, and actually, like I said, maybe a little squishier than anything. Now, I also will say, if you've been thinking about going to a larger grip anyway, right, you're going to 1/16 larger, this might be a way to do it, depending on kind of the grip that you're using underneath. Don't expect it to obviously be smaller, especially when you are adding material here, but it could be an easy way to kind of step up a size on the grip and try it out without having to regrip your grips. Now, I am just kind of curious, even though I didn't do the greatest job on this, to go out and hit some golf balls with it and just see if this thing holds up. All right, I will say that It does feel pretty good in the hand, actually, after a couple swings with it. It didn't even dawn on me that there was anything special about this grip, so you kind of get used to it pretty quickly. Obviously, it has a little bit of a raised edge, but that feel is diminished, especially when wearing a golf glove. And I will say that it only adds a couple of grams to the grip, so there shouldn't be any swing weight issues with it, which is really nice. Now, I will say that it's going to add a little bit of thickness to it, and because the diameter differences between standard, mid-size, and oversized are pretty small, it may actually move you up, I think, to another grip size here. But for many of us, that might be the easiest way to do it. You know, I know a lot of people want to go up to a larger grip. I know I have. It's actually made a huge difference for me. And so actually using even an oversized grip and then wrapping it with this is something that's actually kind of tempting to me, because I might just get a little more thickness, a little bit more control over it, which is really, really cool. Now, I will say it might take you one of these strips to just kind of get the technique down to put it on there. So if you have 13 clubs, I might order 14 of these wraps. But is this the easiest way to regrip your golf clubs? Yeah, I would have to agree with that. You don't need any tools, vices, solvents, grip tape, cutters, anything like that. You can just do it in a few minutes, and it's going to give new life to your grips and make it easy to get back on the course again. So if you want to pick these up, I'll put a link to them in the description below. Peter Von Panda, out.